What you need to know about 2025 Medicare changes next on Retiring Today. Welcome to Retiring Today. I'm Molly Nelson here with Loren Merkle and AnnaMarie Morrow. AnnaMarie is the Director of Medicare here at Merkle Retirement Planning, and Loren is a certified financial planner, a certified financial fiduciary, and a retirement income certified professional. There's a phone number that's going to be on the screen throughout today's show. You can text Journey to the phone number on your screen, and we'll get you signed up for our Journey to Retirement workshop. We'll talk about the workshop throughout the show, but first let's get to Medicare because we're talking about 2025. But AnnaMarie, before we talk about 2025, we have to go all the way back to 2022 because some big legislation was passed that really changed the landscape of Medicare.
Yes, under the Inflation Reduction Act, this set up a timeline through 2029 of basically an overhaul on Medicare Part D. Strategies and things implemented that we haven't seen before, and also the ripple effects of what that could mean in the future of Medicare. And we have this timeline of changes beginning in 2023. Mapped out through 2029.
Yeah, let's talk about 2023 just to jog everyone's memory. For the first time, drug costs were negotiated between the pharmacies and the government. That had never happened before. There's some stuff with insulin and vaccines that really changed as well.
That was a really big deal. Insulins, they have now capped. In 2023, they capped insulins at $35. Previously, I know years ago, under a different administration, they had introduced that legislation, but it was optional for drug plans to participate in that. But under this legislation, it was mandated that prescription drug plans do cap insulins at $35. Now, what's kind of the outside surrounding fine print on that? Well, a big misconception that we experienced was not all drug plans have to cover all insulins. So you still need to make sure you do your due diligence on making sure that your prescription drug plan you're enrolled in covers those insulins. Because the mandate on insulins, on really any prescription medication, is drug plans are only required to cover 2 medications within the same category. So after annual enrollment, I had met with someone for the first time, and they were figuring that their insulin would be capped at $35, but then come to find out in that next year, their insulin was not covered under their prescription drug plan.
Not the kind of surprise you want, and that's what you guys both sit down together and do. People might be surprised, Loren, that you and AnnaMarie work so closely together. You sit down with people, you want to help them avoid surprises, and you want to help educate them on Medicare and how it impacts their overall retirement plan.
When you're making a transition into a phase of your life that you've never been through before, there's so many changes that take place, not only from a lifestyle standpoint, right? You're not working anymore. You get to do whatever you want when you want to do it. That's kind of the appeal of retiring. But then you have to go through all of these hurdles, like where are you going to get the income from? What are you going to do from a will or trust standpoint? And then you land at healthcare. And whether it's the group coverages or the transition from group coverage to open market plans or the transition from group or open market to Medicare, and then you throw in all the legislative changes that have taken place, what's the impact? The future legislative changes, how is that going to impact? You hit it right on the head. You want to eliminate as many surprises as possible because with all the uncertainty, inevitably there's going to be some surprises, but to the point we can minimize those. And more importantly, minimize the impact that it's going to have on your retirement experience financially and otherwise. That is one of the keys of why AnnaMarie and the retirement planners have to work so closely together to really make sure these plans work and there's not as many surprises.
Well, what both of you guys help people do is build Retire Secure Roadmap. So the Retire Secure Roadmap is on the screen now, and you'll see there's different pillars. Each of those pillars is covered in a plan, but you'll see Medicare, or healthcare rather, gets its own stop, gets its own pillar on our Retire Secure Roadmap because people want confidence in all of these areas of their retirement plan.
And that's really a fun part of what we do. I do puzzles at home, and this is all about building those puzzle pieces together so it provides that security throughout retirement.
Okay, let's eliminate some of the surprises. Let's talk about Part D. Before we talk about 2025, let's talk about Part D in itself. Let's do a little, Part D 101, Part D basics.
Part D, so prescription drug plan. And a big question I get when I sit down with people for the first time is, do I need one? Because if you Google Medicare Part D, it is defined as a voluntary program to help offset the cost of expensive prescription medications.
Okay.
I'd really like to focus on that word voluntary.
Yeah, that makes me think I can do it if I want to, but I don't have to.
Exactly.
That's my working definition of volunteer.
So what we need to look at is what happens if you don't.
Yes.
That's the gotcha.
Penalty. So and we meet with people all the time. There's a growing number where turning 65 or at retirement, people are taking just basic generics or no medications at all, which is great. So let's say they continue on that path, but in 20 years, they do start accumulating some medications and they're thinking, okay, now's the time to enroll in a Medicare prescription drug plan. They will have incurred a penalty of 1% times the national average of a premium times how many months you went without a prescription drug coverage, not years, months. And you will have that penalty every month for the duration of your lifetime. So that can be a big deal. So there are drug cards. I mean, it does vary every year as far as premium goes. And that's what part of what we look at, if it's a lower costing premium, just to bypass that penalty. But that's where we do want to still explore options for coverage.
Okay, so the takeaway is sign up for Part D when you hit 65.
Or retire, yes.
Okay, so let's talk about Part D 2025. Part of this legislation, we talked about the Inflation Reduction Act, some changes that people should be aware of.
Yes, let's talk about those changes 2024, 2025. And first, let's also discuss Medicare Part D as far as your enrollment in the drug card. Because a big question I do get asked is, how do I enroll in one? Am I enrolled in one? Because the main focus is typically on the supplements to offset your medical costs. So you basically have two options to enroll in a prescription drug plan. The first option is if you're on a traditional Medigap supplement like Plan F or Plan G, Plan K, then you would enroll in a separate standalone prescription drug plan, which is also offered by private carriers. You would have a separate card that you would give to the pharmacist with its own monthly premium. The other way to enroll in a prescription drug plan is if you enroll in an Advantage plan. Those do have some Advantage plans where the drug card is built into those plans. So you wouldn't have a separate premium, and you would give the pharmacist that one medical card that has drug coverage on it when you do need to pick up your refills. Now, let's dive into the tiers of payment on a drug card. This is a part of why Medicare is known as the maze, because it's not just a stand here, oh, I've got my set copay for medications. We actually move through different tiers of coverage. So the first tier is the deductible phase. This means you will pay alone 100% of the cost of your medications until you hit that drug plan's deductible. Once you hit that deductible, then you move into initial coverage, which means now you're cost sharing with the drug plan you enrolled in. And once you and the drug plan together have hit a dollar amount, then you move into the coverage gap. And when you've hit another dollar amount together, you move into catastrophic coverage where there's no out-of-pocket maximum. But what was new in 2024, for the first time ever, we had the implementation of an out-of-pocket maximum of $3,250, which was great news for Medicare beneficiaries who do have those higher tiered brand name medications. Now, 2025 big change was the elimination of the coverage gap. So now we have the deductible phase, initial coverage, and catastrophic coverage with a lower out-of-pocket max of $2,000, which again, great news for those who have those high-end costs. And this also brings up points of maybe there are some strategies we can implement that we haven't thought of before so that you can stop paying for your medications at some point during the year. And I'm talking about those senior discount programs, whether it's when you go to your pharmacy and your pharmacist is like, oh, we have a coupon for that, or participation in programs like GoodRx. A new strategy could be, well, let's put the cost of your medications on your prescription drug plan so we can hit that $2,000 out-of-pocket max and have no other copays throughout the duration of the year. Because if you do use a coupon or a senior discount program to pay for those high-costing medications, that does not go towards your drug plan that you're enrolled in towards that out-of-pocket max. So this is part of that ripple effect of things to think about on how we approach things as these years go by in new legislation.
When somebody comes in for the first time, or maybe even on an ongoing basis, they bring you a list of medications. So that's something you can walk them through. How is this covered? How is it not covered? What can you expect as from a time frame stand of reaching the out-of-pocket? What happens to them at that point? And when people are talking about healthcare or Medicare as a part of their overall Retire Secure roadmap, there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of confusion, a lot of anxiety. But then when they sit down with you, what we see or hear in those rooms is a lot of laughter, a lot of fun, and they walk out of that room with smiles because for the first time, probably ever, they have a really good understanding of how all of that stuff is going to impact them specifically with their plan.
That really is the best thing I hear, because at the beginning, everyone seems kind of nervous, on edge, and they have all this paperwork that they've received in the mail and they just don't know what to do. And then 20 minutes later, it's, well, that was easy. We need that button. That was easy.
That's right.
Like, that is honestly what just makes my day. And it's fun to see it built into an overall retirement plan where now they just feel great about everything working together to help make the decisions that they don't have to make on their own.
We've got more 2025 Medicare changes to talk about, but first we want to answer some questions that we received recently during our online Journey to Retirement workshop. Next on Retiring Today.
You dream of a happy retirement, but there are some big questions to answer first. Do I have enough saved? When should I take Social Security? How will I pay for health care and keep up with inflation? Go to MerkleRetire.com to schedule a 15-minute retirement checkup call to talk directly with a retirement planner and get answers to your important retirement questions. The first step to your retirement starts with a 15-minute retirement checkup call.
The Merkle Retirement Planning team provides personable and professional expertise unrivaled in this area. They include us in every step of the planning process. The peace of mind provided to us by the Merkle team allows us to fully enjoy this special time of our lives. Instead of feeling snakebit, we feel confident that with the Merkle Retirement Planning team at our sides, we can navigate any challenge that comes our way.
Merkle Retirement Planning. Your retirement starts here.
Anytime I have even the smallest question about my accounts or what effect the latest tax law might have on my situation, the Merkle Retirement Planning team is always there and quick to help. I'm so glad they treat you like family. I'm so happy to have such an excellent team working for my future and ensuring I do the best to achieve my financial goals.
Merkle Retirement Planning. Your retirement starts here.
Welcome back to Retiring Today. I'm Molly Nelson here with Loren Merkle and AnnaMarie Morrow, and we're answering questions that we received recently during an online Journey to Retirement workshop in a section we call Your Journey, Your Questions. Cindy had this question. Cindy asks, is the marketplace healthcare premium based on the previous year's income or current year income? AnnaMarie, what would you tell Cindy?
That is a great question, Cindy. The answer is current year income. Whatever calendar year you need marketplace insurance covered for, they will look at the income earned within that calendar year you need coverage. And I love this question because this is where we do a lot of interactive planning. And basically someone's enrolling in the marketplace if they've retired before the age of 65. And we want to get them those savings. And this is where we can implement income strategies, what tax buckets we're taking things out of. And that's where it can be really fun.
And it's really confusing, which is also why we have to work so closely together, because Medicare premiums actually look back 2 years. So open market is current year. Medicare is 2 years. So it's very easy to get those numbers confused, but the implications of that confusion can be drastic. When we're especially talking about planning, and the tax planning that we integrate into the overall retirement plan can have a direct impact on current year, as well as 2 years ago income, which obviously has an impact on healthcare and then Medicare.
Let's talk about why Cindy was probably asking that question. So you have this online Journey to Retirement workshop where you go through those 6 pillars of the Retire Secure Roadmap. You see the Retire Secure Roadmap on your screen. This is the visual representation of the plans that you help people build. So we stopped at healthcare during the workshop, and you talk about what you can do if you want to retire before you're Medicare eligible. And you really do a good job of walking people through some of the options for retiring before 65.
Yeah, John and Sue, and we see it all the time as well. People don't want to wait until age 65 to retire, even 63 and a half, where they can utilize COBRA until Medicare eligibility. So those options on the marketplace, if people want to retire before that, we look at those options as it relates to their overall retirement planning to see what kind of savings we have. So yeah, that's exactly probably where her question came from, is what year are they looking at? It's pretty simple. It is that current year, which makes our planning simple and effective.
Lauren, tell everyone who John and Sue are.
John and Sue are our hypothetical pre-retirees who are looking to retire within just 2 short years. They have some very specific retirement goals. Some of those goals are individual. John is an avid golfer. He really loves to golf. And Sue likes community events and wants to be more a part of volunteering and just overall community events. And then they have some group goals where they want to leave a meaningful legacy to their 2 kids. So the online Journey to Retirement workshop, we walk you through their pre-retirement and retirement journey and show you specifically some strategies that they implement to help them accomplish their retirement goals. Now, your goals are probably completely different than John and Sue. That's okay, because you can learn from John and Sue's implementation of their strategies and how they build their plan, and you can take strategies away from the online Journey to Retirement workshop and implement them in your own plan to help you on your way to and through retirement.
Yeah, there are strategies and action steps. So here's how you sign up. You text Journey to the number that's on your screen. It's 515-305-3311. Then we'll reach back out to you and help you get signed up. So we have these Journey to Retirement workshops each month. There'll be a couple of dates and times that you can choose from. Then get comfortable, AnnaMarie, because you're going to spend about an hour and 50 minutes going on the journey with John and Sue. And you're going to cover a lot more than just healthcare.
It's such a fun journey to be a part of, because I like to relate it to, like, you know, the retirement coaches, right? But the players have the ball. And we can show them how all the plays work together to score that point, to get that touchdown, so that John and Sue aren't stressed out about, oh, I have to make this silo decision here and what play am I running here. It all works together as illustrated by the coaches. And it's really fun to see all of these pieces come together to get them in that end zone.
And it's okay to ask the coaches questions, right? They're not the kind of coach that says, never question me, because people can ask questions during the online Journey to Retirement workshop, just like Cindy did.
Just like Cindy did. And so you have the opportunity to ask any questions that you've been thinking about, but also questions that have been spurred from the information that you consume in the online Journey to Retirement workshop. And we get to as many questions as we possibly can. But if we don't get to yours, maybe your question will end up on the show.
This is a complimentary workshop, so really you don't have anything to lose. All you have is to gain, because you're going to see John and Sue, you're going to see them go on a journey, and whether you're single or married, there are going to be some action steps that you can take away from the Journey to Retirement workshop. Just text Journey to the number on your screen. We've got more to talk about when it comes to 2025 Medicare changes next.
We are dreaming of retirement, but we have so many questions.
How can I figure out if I have enough money saved for retirement?
What is the roadmap for growing my investments without taking too much risk?
What steps can I take now to lower my tax bill in retirement?
I'd like to retire before 65, but wonder if I can afford health care. Where can I learn about my options?
Our Journey to Retirement workshop is here for you. Go on an interactive retirement journey through the eyes of a hypothetical couple faced with real retirement. Watch as they build a plan that covers the 6 essential pillars of retirement: lifestyle, income, taxes, investment, healthcare, and legacy. You'll see how our retirement planners help John and Sue make the most of their retirement savings and live out their retirement vision. Sign up for the online Journey to Retirement workshop today at retirewithmerkle.com, and you'll be one step closer to retiring with confidence.
Do you wonder if you have enough saved for retirement? Will your money last as long as you do? Will taxes, healthcare costs, and inflation derail your retirement? Get answers. Schedule a 15-minute retirement checkup call today. We can cover a lot in 15 minutes, including strategies you can implement now to start your retirement journey. Schedule a call at merkleretire.com. The first step to a confident retirement starts with a simple phone call.
Welcome back to Retiring Today. I'm Molly Nelson here with Loren Merkle and AnnaMarie Morrow, and we are talking about 2025 Medicare changes. We're talking about Part D, and I watched you with the illustrations, AnnaMarie, and I had a takeaway. So let's look at it again. The biggest difference, 24-25 side by side, is the out-of-pocket max, or one of the biggest differences. So we have $3,250, and then the out-of-pocket max for 2025, $2,000. That's great. If you, especially like you said, if you're on expensive drugs, you only have to pay $2,000 out of pocket. That sounds great. But I found myself thinking, I know drugs aren't getting any cheaper. So someone's got to be making up for that difference. What are you reading? What are you learning about that?
So this is where we start to see the ripple effect occur, is when they make these big changes. And so a great question is, who's picking up that bill? So if you look at the splits, if you dive deep into what those percentages are of who's paying for what, the Medicare has passed on those costs to the prescription drug plans to make up that difference. So a lot of what we're seeing in 2025 is plan carriers who did participate with Medicare have backed out because they can't afford those costs. Another ripple effect is premiums on prescription drug plans are going up or have gone up in 2025. Advantage plans that become an umbrella for the drug card. Those benefits, those fun ancillary benefits that really, make them shiny and new, a lot of those are diminishing, and it varies between Advantage plan. So I love that question because it really draws the eye in and lets the Medicare beneficiary be aware of why these changes are happening that they may not be enjoying, with the overall impact being it's to provide lower costs on the back end for prescription medications.
Well, this leads right into why you look at this with people every single year. You don't just choose a plan for prescription drugs at 65 and say, hey, good luck, have fun, I hope it works out for you. You're looking at it each year so you can look at the coverage that they have and help them change plans if they need to.
Exactly. And it's such a big deal because with, again, this implementation of legislation, a lot of those high costing medications, prescription drug plans just won't cover. It won't be part of those 2 out of every category that they're willing to make that offset cost for. Another importance of making sure that your medications are being looked at during annual enrollment. Another way these prescription drug plans have been able to make these allowances to offset these costs, if a lot of them have stopped paying commissions to agents. So what that could mean is, we would hope this wouldn't be the case, but a lot of agents won't recommend something that they won't be paid on. So with that in mind, they might be shifting more towards Advantage plan where that may not be the best fit for you. So this is really putting it back in the Medicare beneficiary's hand rather than with an agent or a planner who can make those distinct recommendations.
And with all of these changes, many of these changes look good on the surface. This is why it's more important for people before they make these Medicare changes that are going to be there for at least another year. They should consult you, bring their information in. Here's the drugs that they're on. Here's the drugs they anticipate maybe needing within the next 12 months. And then you can really apply the current legislation, the future legislation as we know it today, and then really lead them down the correct path.
That's exactly right. We always do that cost analysis during annual enrollment. If you stay on a standalone supplement with a standalone prescription drug plan, comparing that with the Advantage plan, talking about legislative updates, it can then set you up for success knowing that you have the coverage you need for the following year and you have no surprise out-of-pocket costs.
Okay, remind me when Medicare annual enrollment is each year.
October 15th to December 7th. Put that on your calendar like you do meeting with your tax accountant at the beginning of every year.
And one thing I've learned from you, AnnaMarie, too, is don't wait till you're 65 or 64 to start thinking about this. And I'm just going Medicare overall because there's some things you can do even at 57 and older that can kind of set you up for less surprises when it comes time time to elect.
That's absolutely right. We love meeting with people, 8, 10, 11, 12 years before they're ready to retire because legislation, it looks out years. The tax changes coming up, the Medicare changes. We have these changes slated through 2029. So it's great to give that reassurance to people we meet with on this is what you can look forward to, or this is what we can be prepared for.
And your Medicare premiums can be increased by your taxable income. So if there's tax planning strategies you can start implementing at age 57, 58, 59, get well in advance of that, then it could have a good impact on the premiums that you pay for your Medicare as well.
And we spent a lot of time talking about Medicare, a very important piece of retirement. There's a lot more that goes into it. The online Journey to Retirement workshop will show people all of the things that they can expect as they move to and through retirement.
Yeah, as you move to retirement, what you need to have is a comprehensive written retirement plan. Our proprietary plan is called the Retire Secure Roadmap. The online Journey to Retirement workshop walks you through the pillars that should be involved in your retirement plan through the eyes of John and Sue, our hypothetical pre-retiree couple. So we talk about their lifestyle. What are their retirement goals? How do they want to spend every day as they wake up and don't have to go to work? What does that look like? And then the 5 financial pillars of how they're going to pay for that retirement lifestyle. How are they going to deliver the income now and forever? How are they going to minimize the tax bill, their retirement tax bill? Of course, we talk about healthcare and how to cover for Medicare and healthcare costs. And then we go through the investment planning. How do we cover for a recession, inevitable recession that does happen? We build a recession-resistant portfolio for John and Sue. And then finally, the legacy plan. So all 6 of those pillars are involved in the online Journey to Retirement workshop with action steps you can take out of that and implement for your plan.
Those action steps are really important. You see John and Sue make decisions that put $93,000 more in their pocket, and then another decision puts 6 figures more into their pocket. You've got to check it out. It's our Journey to Retirement workshop. You can sign up by texting the number that's on your screen, 515-305-3311, and then we'll get you signed up for the next Journey to Retirement workshop that works in your schedule. This is Retiring Today, and we thank you for watching.
We are dreaming of retirement, but we have so many questions.
How can I figure out if I have enough money saved for retirement?
What is the roadmap for growing my investments without taking too much risk?
What steps can I take now to lower my tax bill in retirement?
I'd like to retire before 65, but wonder if I can afford health care. Where can I learn about my options?
Our Journey to Retirement workshop is here for you. Go on an interactive retirement journey through the eyes of a hypothetical couple faced with real retirement. Watch as they build a plan that covers the 6 essential pillars of retirement: lifestyle, income, taxes, investment, healthcare, and legacy. You'll see how our retirement planners help John and Sue make the most of their retirement savings and live out their retirement vision. Sign up for the online Journey to Retirement workshop today at retirewithmerkle.com, and you'll be one step closer to retiring with confidence.